One person who is involved in an industry that's enjoyed extraordinary growth in the last few years, and they are very involved when it comes at the co-op level of trying to develop for people that they've got those skills. They don't just rely on people coming in from elsewhere, and they still do have to look at workers from coming in from elsewhere, but obviously with things like COVID, that's also changed a bit of the thinking. But the person who's standing next to me is Satpal Gill. And Satpal, you are the chair of Ozgroup, which is effectively based at Coffs Harbour, and you are involved in the berry industry. And it's had extraordinary growth over the last, probably a decade, really.
Yeah, probably over the last decade, but we've been going since about 2000. So as the decline of the banana industry hit the Coffs Harbour region around the late 1990s, a couple of the growers got into blueberries, and I think from being in the notion of being an industry that was in a decline, why was the decline was the first question. And that was basically because of poor marketing, poor leadership, and basically no direction in the industry. We had a great product, the New South Wales bananas, but we just didn't know how to market it. So when we got into the blueberry industry, I think that was the first thing, like we need to get better at marketing this type of fruit.
Well, you're interesting too in the fact that you've been there since day one, and you're a bit different in the fact that here we are talking about the growth of co-ops and the fact that there are more and more co-ops being developed, but you were one of four, your business partners in a way, but in fact you weren't a co-op.
No, I think us four always worked like a co-op, and that was the model that we really wanted. We wanted to kind of have this where it was a grower-owned business as to a business that was making profits, so all the profits went back to the actually grower. But even after we formed a company and we had more than 50 shareholders up there, and we thought, no, this is not going to work because we had poor accounting advice at the start, and because we really should have been a cooperative from day one. But luckily, around 2014, we formed a cooperative, and from there we just expanded because it allowed us that flexibility now to work as an entity.
Well, you had 50 shareholders at that point. If a person came to you and said, look, we're macadamia growers, there's only 5 of us, why should we go into a co-op? What would you be telling them?
I think there's always, if you make a really robust business, something that will benefit everyone. Like having a cooperative now, we've got our own agronomy team. We can have services like our own produce store. So we're trying to value add all the time, and like together, we're quite large, and we can actually play it with the big corporates. And I think that's the problem in Australian farming at the moment. A single entity family farmer is so much, he's up against so much that it's so difficult to live in this corporate world and to actually make a buck. But as a cooperative, we're one of the largest blueberry producers in Australia. So that allows us to play with the Woolworths and the Coles and the Aldis. And you know, we can actually sit on the table and look at how we're going to sell the product as to not having any plan at all.
Well, it's interesting when you go to your plant there at Coffs Harbour, and there's 2 lines of the berries being packed. One is the Ozgroup, and then one is for Driscoll's, who go into the supermarkets as well. And you made that comment, a bit like John Seckham, the previous guest, about you love being a grower of berries. You don't really want to be on the phone worrying about the marketing. So you've got a marketing team, but why in a co-op does it work better than when you were just the 4 partners or the 50 partners and it was a private business?
Look, I think you get so many minds, so many skills of all farmers coming in. Instead of working like a kind of a closed business, you open yourself up to other people and other ideas. And I think that's the one of the big benefits of cooperatives. We've got a lot of smart people out there. And you know, when you get together and you brainstorm, a lot of good ideas come out of that you didn't think that 5 people could come up with. But if you have a broader group, it kind of steers you in a direction that everyone wants to go.
Satpal Gill is the chair of the Ozgroup Berries, based at Coffs Harbour, but growing right along the mid-north coast and the north coast. Satpal, you made a comment, and that surprised me the first time I went to a field day of berry growers, is you'd think about the labour, picking, the growers like yourself, but suddenly there were all these, I think there were 3 agronomists there on the day talking. So you've got that skill factor. As a co-op, and you've gone through the employment problem because of COVID, how much can a co-op, particularly one like Ausgroup, be developing the local skills so people say, oh, look, I'm only going to be here for picking season. What else can you offer me?
Yeah, well, actually, some of the pickers that are coming from overseas, they're multi-skilled. You might have someone that's worked in a TV company, so they might want to make a video, an induction video. Like I had one guy that was he was a part of quite a big TV station back in Korea, and he said, "Hey, you want me to make you an induction video for your farm?" I said, "Go ahead," and it was very professional. So, I mean, not just that. I mean, you can put them and re-skill them into different places, like even into our pack house and stuff like that. And having a cooperative, having a broad area of growing, allows you, if one area is not peaking yet, you can send those people to other areas. So, you work with each other, basically.
I suppose the other thing with a co-op in particular, and even, you are what we'd call medium to large co-op. You've got the larger ones like Norco and Casino Food Co-op, but then there's the smaller ones. But it does strike many people when they start seeing the value in co-ops that it's not like the Titanic and the iceberg. You can actually change direction fairly quickly. How much all the members have got one vote. How difficult is it to make sure that they're on board?
Yeah, I won't say it's easy. we've had a few heated arguments in the past, but I think if the common good is there, and most people look, it's your livelihood, it's your business, so people take it very seriously. I mean, even though it's a cooperative is a great kind of a model to work with, but at the end of the day, people have to make a profit. And people are really, worried. I mean, how are they going to make that profit? And I think them decisions become very true and very directional in which way they want to go.
Well, you've got people that have been working with the co-op, whether they've been on the processing side or picking for a number of years. Obviously, you're doing something right. At the same time, how do you see the berry industry going? Because you're looking at expansion, you're always looking at another avenue. How do you see it going?
I think it's looking good because we're just starting to develop now a blackberry consumer market in Australia.
Can't beat a good blackberry.
Yeah, they are. They're beautiful tasting blackberries. It's actually the varieties coming out of the world now in those type of spaces are getting beautiful flavour and they're very nutritional. So blackberries and raspberries is something that our growers are starting to diversify into. Like still growing berries, but still getting kind of their hands on different categories of berries, and that's exciting too. So we can see the Australian consumers really lapping up raspberries and blackberries now. So it was maybe 10, 15 years ago, it was blueberries. It was really ramping up from a niche food to now a household. It's like an apple and orange, a blueberry. And I hope like maybe in the next 4 or 5 years, blackberries, raspberries are pretty much there, but I think blackberries is going to be another product that might be on everyone's table.
And with that, are you still finding it a bit difficult to be able to, you can get the backpackers and what have you, but being able to convince agronomists that there's a career by moving to a place like Coffs Harbour and be involved in the industry?
It's been a challenge because going to a new farming or new horticulture, it always experiences is one thing that's always lacking out there because it's a new industry. It's very closed to a certain area. So although there's a lot of expertise overseas, it's very hard to procure them in these type of things. But even for an agronomist, for someone that's looking for a job, like we appreciate new graduates coming up to our area and they want to start. There's a lot of work out there, but there is challenges. But I think there's a lot of room in that space for more agronomists to come.
Satbir Gill, I'll let you go and enjoy a blueberry, a blackberry, and with a dairy product probably from Norco, I reckon, with fresh cream poured across them, and it's lunchtime. Thanks very much.